What is going on, Freedom Gaming followers, my Blurple believers, all of the above? We are so back. If you were living under a Lorcana rock, um, just if you haven't heard, Hiram Flaversham and Fortisphere have recently been banned from constructed play within Disney Lorcana, effective immediately. This happened last week. So Ding dong, the witch is dead. For those of you that know The Wizard of Oz, Blurple's back, baby. It's a little bit of a change to what you might be used to seeing, but I had to come back on here and do another video just kind of going over some of the changes, what the meta is shaking up to be now, and where Blurple fits within that shell. I don't know. I owe some accolades to JDRR who put in, I know, a lot of work behind the scenes on Blurple. I don't want to give away all his secrets. I know he has a lot of teams that are repping these color combos, so I waited until the weekend's tournaments were over to post some of this stuff. But here's our list, and I'm going to go over through some of the different things that we changed, and you're going to notice there's something that you would think it's never cut from the deck that is cut, and that's going to be Rabbits, which long believed to be the best Amethyst color card. Now is being replaced by Finders Keepers. So you have the 5 cost on that draws 3 cards, which is effectively like Mim bouncing Rabbit without having the body on board. And you're like, well, that's not good. I need the body. How can I get around that? And the way that you're able to get around that is by playing things like Bell and Popsicle. So with an existing Popsicle out, you're able to play Finders Keepers, find a Bell, play it for free, and you still have a body you're leaving on board. You might think that, oh, that's like a 3-card combo. No way that's going to happen. Trust me, play the deck, you draw a lot of cards, you'll see that it actually is pretty consistent. You're also going to notice that we took away the 2-cost Mim, the snake. I'm back and forth on this one. I do think if you're not going to play Rabbits, the snake is a little less impactful. Obviously, you can bounce things like Crab to help buff your 1-drops or your 2-drops like Tipo, or even a Bell to get in with a bunch of damage, but it's not as needed. The deck goes wide very fast, and it helps you keep your board presence without needing to negative tempo yourself by playing a Mim and bouncing back. We still have the Fox in here because obviously Fox is incredible, also needed against stuff like Daisy, or we can go 1-drop and then Fox to be able to banish the Daisy and challenge it. The meta is kind of shaking around here. I know as soon as the news was announced that, hey, Flaversham and Fortisphere are gone, discard's going to be the most prevalent thing. I still don't think that's the case because, in my opinion, any deck that can tech for Diablo is going to tech for Diablo. He will be the boogeyman. Red-blue is still going to be very good. Probably more of the DKP list that are using actions and things like that to still get that value. And those green decks still struggle to deal with a ramped into shark. Sure, their hand may be a lot more empty, so if they are able to banish that shark, it's not as bad for them, but they still have a hard time dealing with it. And if they're not able to turn their Diablo sideways and get value, the red-blue deck can just run away with it. So I think that deck is still going to be super relevant within the meta. It's a fun time in Lorcana. It feels like we just reset the whole set release. So everybody's kind of trying new things, and it is very exciting. I am happy to see that this Bell combo is working out. For those of you that watched my last video, we were very high on Bell and Popsicle, even with just one item. When you get to play that character for free, at some point, it is super relevant. And then being able to shift her is also very relevant. People forget about that. The amount of times I've crabbed and shifted Bell on the same turn is very, very high. That six ink turn can be where you just capitalize and run away with the game. So again, we got 4 genies. We are back on Big Elsa, which is another one that not a lot of people are doing. I think with more of the Amethyst decks that are going to come out, your green purples, your red purples, Elsa helps you propel yourself to the finish line. And it's your accelerate button, if you will. And I think she's needed when you're in those tempo battles of the Amethyst Mirrors. Maybe not for everybody. Some people probably just want to play the 4 Hades and move on with their lives, but I'm a big fan of Elsa, so I'm still playing her. I did go to 3 Finders Keepers. I know that it's common to be playing 4, but I did 3 and a Great Stone Dragon, which very similar cards. Obviously, you're not going to be able to get a bell for free off a Greystone Dragon, but Greystone Dragon, after you set it up, reads draw a card every turn, because you're not inking from hand anymore. So it literally says draw a card every turn. Your graveyard is not going to be empty. You're almost always going to have ink in there to be used. So that, I think Greystone Dragon is back. I'm a big fan of that card. It can be a little slow to set up. You have to find the right timing to do so, but once you get it set up, it just runs away with games. Like, I think Ruby Amethyst is going to come back, right? Like, I think it's going to have a big showing in the meta. Greystone Dragon, I think, destroys that matchup because now, in an attrition battle where you're both battling for who has more cards in hand, Greystone Dragon just accelerates you over the top there. We're still playing one Let It Go, so we have 4 Hades-like effects within the deck. I get the argument for 4 Hades without having 2-cost Mim to bounce it back. You do still have the Fox, so you're able to do multiple Hades effects if needed. I, for one, am a big fan of Elsa and maybe not shifting Elsa. Like late game on turn 8, playing this Elsa with an existing 5-cost out, and then with 9 ink, you're able to quest with the 8-cost Elsa, bounce it with Fox, shift it on the other Elsa, and it's a 6 lore gain immediately. That's like a finishing move. I'm a big fan of that play, so I'm glad we still have access to that with the Fox. But again, no Snake Mim, so I think you do want 4 Hades-like effects. And again, you could just cut the Let It Go and play 4 Hades. Not a problem. I mean, we're on 9 uninkables right now, so definitely not a problem at all there. But I also wanted to be able to use my Let It Go because I took it out of the case the other day, so it's just being used now. Almost everything else in the deck is pretty cut and dry. Like, we kind of went over the bell combo, be able to high roll into seeing friends. Still super, super strong when it does happen, and it happens quite often. So nothing game breaking, if you will, but the deck is just very good. It's very resilient. Give this list a try. If you have some things you would like to add, I'm probably going to get into that because we have a bunch of tech cards that I think we could see where this deck may go in the future. Because if you guys know me, you know I'm always tweaking my deck. So this list that I'm going to post out will probably be changed a bunch of times before the next big tournament. So always pay attention to that Dreamborn link because I do update it for the most part. Peter Pan Shadowfinder, you're starting to see a lot of Amethyst decks run this card to be able to have a Rush Iago, or even just Rush Genies is sometimes pretty strong within the Genie Wars. For Blurple, it's a little hard to play this card because it's a 3-cost uninkable, and if you're not playing an evasive mirror type strategy, the card's just not good. So I'm not really on this card right now. Could I see the meta going there? Potentially, yeah, but it's just, I think, a little too outside of the curve and a little too clunky for what Blurple wants to do. However, I do think Peter Pan Shadow could fit in the curve. This would give something like your Fox evasive. So you're able to send your Fox into a Genie. That could catch people off guard for sure. It's interesting. Again, I'm not quite there yet, but it is something I may mess around with. I love this card back when it first released in set 2 and it was played in Ruby Amethyst decks. So if I get a chance to play it again, I may just do that. If I was going to play Shadowfinder, the 3-cost that gives Evasive's Rush, I would want to try to fit in Mim Dragon, but I'm not there yet. But I know some people are working that way. This is the main target, right? That you want to play with Shadowfinder. You want to have this 4-cost 4/6 come in with Rush, blow up a Genie, and be hard to answer. Iago by himself could just be a good card without the Shadowfinder, and now you don't have an uninkable to clog up your hand sometimes. So I could see some decks playing Iago. I'm not there yet because it's just so bad into Steel, and we need all the help we can get. And I think, personally, right now, Green Steel, Steel Song are our worst matchups, so I don't want to play cards that are going to be worse into those games. So Iago really doesn't fit what I'm trying to do. However, if we are playing against an Iago, it's a problem too, right? He's not the easiest thing for our deck to answer. You don't really want to have to Hades it or Let It Go it. That's really the only 2 things you can do without sending probably multiple things in to the Iago to finish it. So if I was going to tech for Iago, these would be my 2 choices. It would be Ever As Before we have a lot of damage on our characters pretty often because we're doing so much combat challenging and banishing. So we have a lot of leftover damage. Sometimes you want to keep that damage so that you're able to play your 5-cost spell and banish something else. But this is relevant because you could heal your characters and target Iago at the same time. Could be a good card if Iago becomes a big problem. A 2-cost Song is a pretty easy answer for a 4-cost evasive. The other option, and I saw this in the 20 lore thread. I don't remember exactly who said this, so I apologize. I probably should have looked at that before. I think it was a Willip. I'm pretty sure that's who it was. But Hypnotic Strength is interesting as well. You could target enemies Iagos and banish them with this card, or you can give one of your evasives +2 challenger, like a genie, to banish your opponent's genie. So, and it also replaces itself. So this is a good answer too for Iagos. So it's just to know that we do have a couple of things that we can do to answer Iagos. But as it stands right now, he's a problem for us. He can be. He's still only questing for one, but a 4/6 evasive can be quite annoying for us to deal with. But again, if we needed to really tech for it, if maybe your whole meta is going to have a lot of Iago enjoyers, then throw a couple copies of Hypnotic Strength or Ever as before in there, and he's no longer a problem. The Queen. So a lot of people like this card. I'm not as big of a fan on it right now. That could change. Obviously, Shark meta comes back and you want to get rid of actions, you can do that. With Queen, she's also just an accelerant, so that you can end the games quickly. She basically reads quests for 4 costs sometimes. Quest for 3, sometimes 4, I guess is more relevant, but she was really good when there were so many items in graveyard so that Tamatoa couldn't get them back. I'm not sure we're going to be seeing that as often anymore, but I could be completely wrong on that, and if I am wrong, you're going to want to slide these back in. She still is a 4/3 body. 4-cost 4/3 body is still super strong. I'm worried about steal, and I think that's why I'm not as high on the Queen as I was a week or two ago. So the meta's exciting. We're going to see what happens within it. There's going to be a lot of strong decks that are going to, I think, come out of the woodwork. Hopefully we see some Ruby Steel start acting, coming into the meta, right? Because it never really had a chance to shine. It's just an exciting time, and I really, really do think Blurple is back in a big way. We just weren't quite there before the Hiram ban. It made it really hard to both the Hiram and the 6-cost Tamatoa. Made it very difficult for us to use all our removal and be able to fight some of those decks. But now we are back. So if you're playing Blurple out there, if you made it this far in the video, appreciate you guys. Like and subscribe to the content for more like this. Put some anything that you're trying out, maybe within this color combination, in the comments. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see what you guys are innovating as well, and let's keep making Blurple the best it can be. That's all I got today. Again, it's Hazed Freedom Gaming. Nice talking to you guys, and take care.